You're not all that nice. And I say that as someone who is historically known for being a very nice and kind person. And I haven't really engaged too much with the phrasing of shadow work or the shadow work community and all of that. But I have been on a personal development and growth journey. And one of the things I've come to realize is that while I am a kind person and I am a sweetheart, I'm not as nice as people think that I am. Nice is just a strategy, right? Nice is a strategy that some of us use in order to keep ourselves safe, to have access to resources, to have access to spaces, to live as well as we can, to avoid hurt or harm coming to us. There's all these reasons, but it's a tool. It's a strategy, it's an approach that we use. It is not necessarily reflective of our character necessarily. And or it doesn't mean that you don't also have negative qualities, that are kind of like the flip side of that niceness. I say all of that to say because one of the big parts of doing good time management is really being clear about who you are, what you want, and what you're giving your time towards. What are you giving your attention to? Why are you giving your attention to it? What is the intended goal of giving your time and attention towards this thing? What's the feeling you're going after? What's the purpose of this? And it's much easier to do that kind of work when you're clear about who you are, what you're pursuing, and why you're pursuing it. So, what are you pursuing? Why are you pursuing it? And who are you trying to be? Sometimes we cannot continue to use the strategies we previously used to get to where we're trying to go. Sometimes we have to use new strategies, new approaches. And that is not just time management, goal setting, those sorts of things. Sometimes it's the internal strategies, how we're motivating ourselves, how we're demotivating ourselves, how we're inspiring ourselves, how we're getting into momentum, what structures we're using, what aspects of our personality that we're leaning into, what parts are we pulling away from. Does that balance still work out for you? Do you actually maybe need to be a little less disciplined? I'll never forget being in a therapy session and my therapist telling me, like, Zanaya, you need to be a little more messy. There's a reason why I help people with time management and organization. It's how I work. But she was like, you can be a little more messy. You don't have to be so, every step so perfectly considered and, just you don't have to be so careful all the time. And that might be you, whoever I'm talking to. You might be one of those people. And if that's you, then some of the stuff that you might typically be told to do to help you on your journey may not even fit you. That's not the kind of issue that you're having. So it's really important. I said a whole bunch of stuff. It's really important that you stop and check in with yourself. Get clear about where you're going, where you're heading, who you're trying to be when you get there, and take an assessment of if who you are being right now is the kind of person who can have the life that you're trying to move into or achieve the goal or the success that you're trying to experience. And this is not to say, I maybe shouldn't have used being nice as the example, because it might sound like I'm saying you have to not be nice or kind to people. That wasn't what I was trying to say. What I was trying to say is that we may need to lean into other aspects of ourselves and take different approaches to achieving things than what we may have done in the past. And for sure, our personalities and the way we show up, all of that is manufactured. Some of it is genuine. It's coming from a genuine place of just kind of how we're wired and who we are. But a lot of it, we've learned how to move through the world. We've learned how to navigate the system. We've learned our strengths. We've learned our weaknesses, and we play the game accordingly. And sometimes we have to play a different game to have a different result.